Hello Star Citizens, Buzzkiller here, and welcome back to the hangar. So as you've probably noticed, I haven't been releasing much in the way of Star Citizen content lately. And the reason for that is twofold. Well, first off is of course the 3-week work trip that I had to take, in which I really didn't have access to my computer, just my laptop. And the second reason is, well, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. I mean, yeah, we've had a ship sale or two, and of course we had that huge 48 gigabyte leak a couple weeks ago, which, don't worry, I'm not going to talk about. I know there's a lot of people who don't want to see or hear about that kind of stuff, and I respect that. While I may reference it every now and then, I'm not going to show any pictures or any of the content released in that leak. But really, if it wasn't for that leak, there wasn't a whole lot of content to look at. Now, I know they've been busy behind the scenes working on things like Squadron 42, the Vanduul ships, and the much anticipated, often delayed FPS module. In fact, it hasn't been but in the past few days that we've started to hear any more really good information. And since I'm going to be going on yet another trip, I wanted to go ahead and discuss some of that stuff that has been released in the past few days. So without further ado, let's get started. So before I get into this week's content, there were actually some really good posts last week that I forgot to mention. Starting off, we have a first look at the Bandol Void. The Void is a large bomber-type vessel that has the option of carrying a boarding assault pod. I think it looks really cool. The ship was part of the leaked assets, and they really didn't do it justice. Of course, this is the way the ship was meant to be revealed, and it's absolutely fantastic. Next up, we have a short video released of the Vanduul Sky being flown around by the devs. If you weren't aware, this is the next ship that we will be able to fly in Arena Commander. It looks like it's going to be every bit as nimble and fast as a Gladius, with the firepower of some of the larger fighters like the Gladiator or the Super Hornet. Of course, the Sky will likely be much more fragile. Now, unless you're one of the lucky ones that snagged this ship during the Kickstarter campaign, or you forked over a serious amount of dough on the gray market, the only way to fly one of these ships is to be an Imperial level subscriber, in which case you'll get 1 token for every month of your subscription that will allow you to rent the ship for a day. Another possibility is that they may allow all backers to fly the Sky during a free fly event. Now, the first bit of significant content this week came not from the RSI website, but from PC Gamer's PC Gaming panel at E3. In the panel, Chris Roberts made an appearance, not in person of course, but in a pre-recorded video showing off some of the mocap work they've been doing in London for Squadron 42. Also in this video, they showed off a lot of the assets that were part of the aforementioned leak. This includes brief shots of the Bengal carrier in full battle mode, a very short blink-and-you-miss-it glimpse of the Retribution Dreadnought in dry dock, and even a few fly-arounds of various Vanduul ships. And finally, we have this week's episode of Around the Verse. In the intro, Ben talks a little bit about the Vanduul ships we spoke about previously, and also teases that there may be more released in the coming weeks. He also talked a little bit about Star Marine, saying that a large part of the team, including members of the new German office, are working on some netcode issues that have been a major blocker to the release to the PTU. In news from Around the Verse, Darian and Travis talked a little bit about the upcoming 1.2.0 patch for Arena Commander. For the new release, they've been doing a full top-to-bottom balance pass. This includes weapons, missiles, and other items, as well as implementation of the physical-based damage system. They also talked more about the Game Object State Tracker, or GHOST, and how they have begun integrating it into the lighting system. They say this will allow some cool scenario-based lighting events, like starting up a ship or a vehicle, or having warning lights triggered by damage to your ship. At Ilphonic, David teased us with 3 new grenades they are working on for Star Marine, He didn't say what the grenades actually do, but he promised that it would be something we'd never seen before in a tactical shooter. He also talked about the aim-down sight systems and the animations as part of that, as well as some network optimization they've been doing. Austin introduced us to Imre Switzer, who is one of their new lighting artists. And the UK talked a little bit about the scale and design of the Shubin mining station. In this week's Shipshape, Lisa gave us an in-depth look at Anvil Aerospace. She showed us the company's style guide and teased us about the upcoming Anvil Crucible, which will likely be the next concept sail released. In a special segment, Zane Bien showed us around the Vanduul Sky, this HUD. Apparently it'll be a hacked-together combination of the standard HUD we are used to, with some alien elements thrown in. The alien portion will only show up under certain conditions, such as during the boot-up sequence, or when the ship starts taking damage. At the end of the segment, he mentioned that they'll be working on the Merlin's HUD next. Now this little tidbit gets me really excited, as I'm really hoping the Merlin will be the next flyable ship after the Scythe. And finally we have the art sneak peek, which looks like some kind of environmental panel for the Shubin mining station. It looks like a weather sensor or weather page of some sort, which kind of seems out of place in a space station, so maybe it's actually for a different Shubin facility. Who knows? Well, that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it, or at least found it somewhat informative. If you did, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe button. And until next time, this has been Buzzkiller, and I'll see you guys in the verse.